Flame Toys Optimus Primal is a figure I've wanted for a while, but because of a couple flaws and an egregious price point, I've kept my distance. Because I'm no stranger to doing mental gymnastics to cope with buying overpriced pieces of plastic, if you haven't noticed. But Flame Toys Optimus Primal is where I drew the line. Because I refused to pay for a figure that was originally gonna be sold as a model kit, but instead was sold pre-painted and assembled at the price of $160, all while still having the plastic quality of a model kit. So yeah, this was an easy pass for me. That was until some random KO company decided to pump this guy out of their undisclosed sweatshop for half the cost of the labor and 1/4 the price. Because I don't support sweatshops, but I do support budget-friendly figures. Because, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jib, and last week we took a look at a figure I already loved, but grew to love even more after it went through my amateur customization process. Which, if you're interested to see, just click the cards up above. Because this week we'll be taking a look at a KO of Flame Toys Optimus Primal, who has a lot to love but an equal amount of stuff to hate. But like always, before we begin, if you like what I do here, consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing so we can hit 1,000 before the channel's birthday, which is actually coming up pretty soon. Damn, the passage of time is truly horrifying. Anyway, starting off with the painting and sculpting on the figure, it's definitely one of the figure's highlights considering it doesn't transform. As the color choices are bold and vibrant, as the figure is a canvas of colors despite looking a little plain, but that's because almost every color present is actually paint, except for the black fur parts. So that means the white, the metallic blue, the red, and the gorgeous silver and gunmetal gray found everywhere is also painted. And the contrast of the dark saturated grays make the red, white, and blue pop brilliantly, though I have heard some people complain that the red should have been a metallic shade. But to be honest, I think that would have made the red look too distracting, and simply going with the lighter shade gives off a more uniform feel, and it keeps everything from looking too busy. But then again, people just like complaining about everything, me included. But what I can complain about are the small accents found across the entire figure. Like these small silver rivet-like details in this beautiful metallic turquoise used only on the sides of the head, from the looks of it anyways. Because not only are a majority of the small details hit with paint, but they're done so extremely sharp as well. But that beautiful paintwork would be nothing without the base sculpt work found here, just like this channel would apparently be nothing without my apparently smooth voice. Because like I said, this is a one-to-one KO that copies every single aspect of the original except the exclusive mass piece, which doesn't really bother me because I have no attachment to that chupacabra bedbug looking thing. So with that being said, the team over at Flame Toys deserves a round of applause for the excellent sculpt work going on here. As this version of Optimus Primal came out beautifully, but more importantly faithful to the old cartoon. As the design here is exaggerated in Flame Toys fashion, but it's done so tastefully in a way that doesn't just turn Optimus Primal into a caricature of himself, but properly translates his main attributes into a sharper, more badass redesign, a bit better than Rise of the Beast in my opinion. Hopefully that's not a nuclear take to say that Rise of the Beast Primal and the rest of the Maximals looked bland and boring as hell in retrospect, which is also ironic as it parallels their personalities, if you can call barely 3 lines of dialogue personality. But enough Rise of the Beast slander, there's enough videos doing that right now, so back to the review. Because while Flame Toys designed the figure, the KO company who KO'd the figure did an equally excellent job at replicating every single detail from the original, at the exact same level of quality. Or at least I think so, because I haven't really seen anybody do a versus video on the both, as it looks like those fortunate with massive amounts of money buy the original and pass on the KO, meanwhile us peasants, who can only afford this guy, buy only this guy. So from copious amounts of research I've deducted that they are completely identical, for better or for worse. Even down to the accessories except for that exclusive mass piece that I mentioned that I honestly can't conjure up a modicum of care for. Because in terms of accessories, this figure includes 2 forearm cannons that require you to take off the entire forearm panel just to attach them. But if you don't like how cool things look, he also includes these 2 pieces that give him a more disarmed/relaxed type of look. As well as these shoulder cannons that are on ball joints, but I'm not sure if they count as accessories, so do with that information as you will. Last but certainly not least, he includes 2 beautifully painted blades with accents of metallic blue and gold found right at the handles. And they can't connect together like the Yolo Park one, which would have been cool, but hey, they barely connect into the figure's hands. Wait, what? That's right, I didn't stutter, you heard right, they barely connect into the figure's hands. Since the whole figure is caked up in paint, that means the hands and blades are as well. And sadly, that messes with the tolerances of the connections, but it's not the end of the world because apparently that was back in 2012. Because the most obvious and easy solution is just to shave down the insides of the slots, which is easier said than done, but is worth it. Because they look great in his monkey paws. And that wraps it up for the accessories, as he doesn't include interchangeable hands, cause he doesn't need them. Cause for articulation, this big meaty robot monkey has a ball joint at the head followed by a hinge at the base of the neck that work together, allowing an incredible up and down. Butterfly movement going only inwards, accessible only by pulling the shoulder out a bit, which I recommend a little bit of caution and care, as you could easily yank out the entire shoulder hinge if you're not being careful. Which doesn't cause breakage but is annoying to put back in. Anyways, hinge at the shoulder, full 360 rotation, shoulder pads hinge up and down. Inner arms also hinge out, no bicep swivel. 90-degree bend in this formation, but if you utilize the forearm swivel, you get a deeper bend. Ball joints at the wrist. Fingers individually articulate at 2 points, with the thumbs being on 2 hinges and a ball joint. And they could have been a little tighter, but once again, it's not the end of the world. Ball joint in the abs. Unlimited waist swivel. Legs are on ball joints that go back and forth with these waist pieces hinging. Beautiful spread or not. But hey, at least thigh swivel. Oh no. But hey, at least these panels are on ball joints. 90-degree bend. And ball jointed feet with a hinge at the toes. And die cast here. Wake up, guys. Die cast. Yeah, for a non-transforming figure, this is ridiculous, even by Flame Toy standards, because I can kind of forgive a figure with no bicep swivel when they still have to transform and everything. But when a figure that doesn't even transform lacks basic points of articulation, it kinda has no excuse. So I'm definitely taking matters into my own hands and fixing this myself. How exactly? I'm not sure, but while I think about how, you can go ahead and subscribe and do all that other stuff. Thank you. Shameless plug aside, how about some size comparisons? Cause here he is with my custom Desperado, YOLO Park Optimus Primal, who poses a lot better but lacks his swag, you know? And last but not least, my custom Flame Toys Leo Prime. And they look amazing together, despite having only interacted once in this franchise's long history, which is wild to be honest, and makes me hope for a future Beast Wars and Beast Wars 2 crossover. Beast Wars 2. That name is dog shit. In summary of everything, this is a figure that has been carried mainly by his quality and aesthetic, but regardless of that, he has no excuse coming in as short as he does in articulation, considering he doesn't transform. So while I'm happy to have him alongside my Leo Prime, I just wish his articulation was up to par with my GOAT. So if you're interested in this guy, just be aware that he isn't perfect, but he is significantly cheaper than his official counterpart. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten his ass and would have roasted him a lot more. So with that being said, I leave you guys once more as I retreat to my goon cave to Frankenstein some better joints on this figure. But like always, thanks for watching. See you next time.